And are we all not non-prophets? I'm Denis Loubet, along with Russell Glasser and special guest E.J. Sorrell. But we could just as easily be you or even the person sitting next to you. And don't let the fact that we're coming to you live from the Free Thought Library in Austin, Texas on the 18th of March, 2018, lead you to believe that one particular time and place isn't as good as another. This show is sponsored by the Atheist Community of Austin, a nonprofit educational organization for the promotion of positive atheism and the separation of church and state, but could have been sponsored by the Pepsi Corporation if conditions were different. If you want to waste your time learning about one possible sponsor out of the nearly infinite organizations that could have done the same, you can call the ACA voicemail at 512-220-6561 or visit their website at www.atheist-community.org. Out of the thousands of possibilities, The NonProphets seems to broadcast live every first and third Wednesday of each month from 7:30 to 9 Central Time. And if you follow the directions at www.nonprofitsradio.com, you can join the NonProphets chat room, populated by a few of the 7.5 billion people available. So sit back and enjoy the limitless possibilities of this show.
Wow, that's a lot of hypotheticals.
Isn't it, though? It touches almost on the multiple universe theory here. So,
yes. Well, welcome, everyone, to what I believe is our third Jeffless week. Yeah, you
can hear the wailing and the gnashing of teeth in the background.
Also, the control room tries to do a thing every once in a while, and we humor them.
Yes.
We're on camera today, and so I may as well also mention that our guest this week,
yes,
E.J. Sorrell, for those of you who watched Talk Heathen a few weeks ago, or just saw a, I guess, pretty viral video clip
Close
by
to
now.
viral,
You
yeah.
yelling at a flat earther.
Yeah, dear old
that-
Victor. Yeah.
yes, that was awesome.
That was a fun time. I was not expecting to talk to a flat earther.
I know.
You never know what you're going to get.
Fun fact, which like now that phrase is constantly mocked for me, but fun fact, I had never encountered flat earth arguments until that conversation. Like I knew they were there, but
I'm not sure if I've ever spoken to a flat earther.
But like I have a friend who has this kind of masochistic desire to go and watch like flat earth videos so that he can laugh at how bad they are. But I had never encountered flat earth arguments before. I didn't even know what like the common ones were or the rebuttals to them. So I was making it up on the fly.
Or what their layout of the world was.
Yeah.
Apparently, from what I can glean from the videos, it's like a polar projection.
Yeah, or the problem is they're really inconsistent. So it varies from person to person. So you can't even like say what they believe because they all believe different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a thing I say a lot about science versus religion, that scientists disagree with each other, but their goal is to converge on something.
Yes,
and
there's
try
a convergence.
And try to come up with ways to resolve a dispute, whereas when two religious people have a dispute, they just break off into two different factions.
Right, there's a divergence.
Yeah, they create whole new religions.
Right, which is why we even have flat earthers in the first place in the 21st century, I guess.
Right.
But then it sounds like there are just factions among the very, very tiny number of flat earthers that there are.
Yeah, I keep wanting to sick the hollow earthers on the flat earthers. I think that would be really an awesome argument to listen to.
Yeah. Where do chemtrails fit into all that?
I don't know, but it's part of the barrier to keep you from going through the hole at the poles to get into the hollow earth. There you go.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
And, like the ice wall somehow comes into play too.
And there's the sun in the center of the earth. It's
if
weird.
you're a hollow earther, is the ice wall around the entrance to the middle of the earth? Like, what is that? Go figure. Who knows?
Yeah, if the world's a polar projection, boy, and they choose the North Pole. I don't know why.
So the South Pole.
The South Pole
is a perimeter around the entire Earth.
Insanely huge.
It's a heavily guarded ice wall around.
That's right.
Has anyone?
You think Trump wants to build a wall? Boy, howdy.
Has anyone tried to, have any flat earthers? Now I'm devising experiments.
I know.
And they're just not going to follow
You think they're going to do experiments.
Yeah.
Well, the flat earther who was going to launch himself in a rocket launched himself in a rocket.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did he get to do it?
Yeah, he did it.
He did.
Wow.
And he survived.
That's incredible because wasn't
apparently multiple parachutes.
See, now
he
I have to
survived.
pull that up. And also, like, you searching for things becomes more awkward with the video now because
now
there's the camera looking right over my
Google.
shoulder, seeing me flail around on the internet with failed searches.
Right. I'm not
instead
sure.
of just being all casual and letting you
Yes,
talk.
they can look over your shoulder and see, oh, he's using that word. That'll never
We need
search.
to put up like a cardboard like block so nobody can see.
Yeah. Thing is, that guy
Like
with the
D&D.
rocket,
Yeah, exactly.
he was going to prove the Earth was flat somehow by flying up, 2,000 feet?
Yeah, you gotta get to 35,000, buddy. Like come on now. It was steam powered, right? Like that was the craziest thing to me because of all the fuels you can choose. Like water is so heavy, and the amount of propulsion that you would get from it is so minimal. Like, come on.
Well,
we have better rocket technology.
He just scaled up those water rockets that you'd launch as a kid, I guess.
Like, we have rocket technology that is easily accessible to the average person that you could do. Like,
I don't know how much he spent on the thing, but maybe he could have afforded, a little bit of room on one of Elon Musk's launches. Who knows?
I had no idea he managed to launch it. I thought
apparently it launched.
I mean,
he's in the hospital, but apparently
I had some different stories, but my Google was successful. So do you want to hear a more detailed story?
Sure,
I'm
go
into
ahead.
it. Yeah,
This
I'm
is
very
entertaining
curious
anyway.
now.
Well, since this is an experimental video week anyway, I'm just going to say they should go ahead and show off the video clips they have, which is clip one. Is this how I do it now? Come on.
No, I don't
Guys, don't make me look bad here. They were not prepared.
You caught him by surprise.
Whoa.
We got cartoon versions of ourselves now.
I mean, I don't look
animation.
like that,
No, not much. I guess that was supposed to be Jeff and was unfortunately animated in the before time. An amateur.
Now I should be setting up email.
Yeah.
I should.
This is when you. This is when you do that, Dennis.
Yeah.
An amateur rocket maker finally launched himself off Earth, now to prove it's flat. Mike Hughes, a California man who is most known for his belief that the Earth is shaped like a Frisbee. And I feel like they use most known loosely because, I mean,
and
only
shaped like a
people
Frisbee
who
isn't
pay
exactly
attention.
a nice way to phrase it, but yeah, okay. I think this article has a slant.
Finally blasted. It's probably like from blog.washingtonpost.com or something. Now, this looks like it's
I think it's
just
an
a
attempt
science.
at humor. It just falls a little flat.
Yeah.
Get it? Flat.
And they
Ba-dum.
and they say print media is dying. The 61-year-old limo driver and daredevil turned rocket maker soared above 1,875 feet. And they're just trying too hard with the adjectives. Above the Mojave Desert, the Associated Press reported Hughes' white and green rocket bearing the words "Flat Earth" propelled vertically about 3 p.m. Pacific time and reached a speed of about 350 miles per hour. Does anyone know how high planes normally fly?
30,000 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Somewhere out
so
there.
why a rocket exactly? I mean,
Because I guess they cannot trust airlines. They cannot trust planes.
okay.
This
raises so many more questions.
How high was he trying to get into the air is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He got less than 2,000 feet, which is nowhere
Right.
near high enough to be able to see the curve.
How high? I mean, how high are 2,000-foot things? I mean, besides
not
the obvious
very.
answer.
A really a tall building, I guess.
Tall building is...
I'm really bad with feet. Like, I can't visualize distances and feet.
Because you're an engineering student, you must use meters all the time.
Well, that, and I lived in Australia during my adolescence, so I grew up using metric, and all of this imperial units doesn't make sense. The worst is conversions. Ugh, I can't do it.
Yes. Let's see. So, okay, but...
We said the same
You
thing.
first.
I was going to say, so it says he went vertically. Now, if you are, I don't know if his attempt was to get into orbit or not, but if you're trying to get into orbit, you don't go directly up. Like, if you've ever seen a rocket launch, they go in an arc because you're trying to get into an orbit.
The Bernoulli principle is just government propaganda, man.
I don't think he was trying for orbit, but wow.
But okay, so he wanted to just go straight up to what
To get some altitude to look out the window, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like Wile E.
Who can
Coyote
peer into the mind
get
of a
that
flat
high
earther?
with a giant slingshot or something, right?
Yeah, you don't even need a rocket to get 2,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, you need a very big trampoline.
He could have built a small rocket and attached a camera to it and gotten it higher than he got that rocket.
Yeah, a balloon.
Without himself in it and endangering his own life. Like
A balloon, hot air balloon will get you.
Yeah. Although I guess maybe the response to attaching a camera to it is, well, the government sends signals that'll burn out the bits in the camera or something.
The highest hot air balloon on record has reached an altitude of 21,000 feet. So,
But they can get weather balloons up into like
weather balloons.
outer space.
Insanely
The edge
high,
of space,
like almost
yeah.
lower.
Would
orbit
that be
practically.
high enough to see the curvature of the Earth?
Yeah, I think the figure is 35,000 feet is how high you need to get to see the curvature. I may be remembering that wrong. I want to say it's like 35,000 or something like that.
But it's like, they don't care about that because they just say, oh, fisheye lens. What can you do? I mean, to be a flat earther, you have to believe that every cartographer is lying. Every scientist is lying. Every airline pilot is lying. Every ship captain is lying. It's like they're all in on it. Everybody.
I saw one that was
insane.
If you think you've been to Australia, you're wrong. Because the government flies you to an island with actors that pretend that it's Australia.
Good day.
And I'm like, okay. First of all, I lived there for 9 years.
Yeah.
Second of all, I have driven cross country from one side of Australia to the other, and that would have been quite a feat for them to fake.
You're
but
just a shill for the round earthers.
Are you in on it?
By the NASA Illuminati.
That's right. You get your check.
No, if only they would pay me though, because man, I could pay off my friend's college debts, but now I just have to do it for free and tell the truth, but instead of getting paid to lie,
But
go figure.
Yeah, I feel like the obvious fact that you can get higher maybe brings up an idea that this flat earther was operating on ostrich principles, that if he had gone too high, he would have maybe risked seeing that the Earth was curved. And so he just went up a short distance, said, I can't see any round Earth yet, and then came back down.
That's right.
Or his rocket wasn't capable of getting any higher.
Right, because he's a dumbass.
Because it's a steam-powered rocket, and water is literally the heaviest fuel you can use. The weight to volume, this is in, the thing that I study, and just the stupidity of it is just so infuriating.
What was his stated goal in doing this? I can't
you got the article, man. I don't know.
you're the one
this is the aftermath in this article.
Right.
Let's see. So he flew up in a rocket that said flat Earth on it. I guess some proof.
Nice touch.
It sounds like advertising more than science here.
Yeah. He could be like, look, there's an object in the sky that says flat Earth now. Case closed. The vertical launch, which happened without a countdown more than 200 miles east of Los Angeles, came amid growing skepticism that Hughes would ever lift himself off. Another theory I have now is that maybe he was just lowering expectations to rock bottom that people would be really impressed when he got almost...
But does it tell how he survived the landing? Because what I read, the article I read said it was due to a couple of parachutes.
He attempted his flight in February. The rocket didn't ignite.
Right.
And then he... I'm just going to search for land in this page.
Right.
All right. Hughes deployed 2 parachutes while landing. The second one just moments before he plopped down, not far from his launching point. So he doesn't understand how parachutes work either.
You have like a minimum amount.
Yeah, you need a little altitude to play with. Yeah.
Look, I've been playing Far Cry 5, and if you have the parachute upgrade on your character, you still have to like start deploying that parachute pretty high up.
Right.
Or you're still dead.
So even game simulations frown at this.
Right. Yeah, but they are working for the man.
Obviously.
I
mean, I've been real life skydiving, and they have like a minimum altitude at which it's still safe to deploy the parachute.
Right.
Like
you're a bigger badass than me.
it was an 18th birthday present from my dad because I've been begging to go for.
Richard Garriott talked me into jumping out of a completely fine aircraft, and I did. It was great.
I still want to go again. It was really
cool.
fun.
Of course, I had an instructor strapped to my back, but still.
Anyway, he sort of crashed, sort of didn't.
Yeah.
Said, I'll feel that in the morning, but I'm glad I did it. And I do. Okay, wait. His previous failed attempts, as well as the successful one on Saturday, are all part of his ultimate goal to propel himself at least 52 miles above the Earth by the end of the year.
Well, that'll do it.
So he got... Did he get 1%?
What
no,
is that
he,
in feet?
he got
I don't know. I can't.
5,200 feet in a mile.
Is that right?
So he did not quite make it half a mile, right?
Right.
Because he made it like a third of a mile. So
Okay.
I'm saying like
He's working on it.
0.6%.
By the end of the year. Man, that's ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah. On water.
How many feet is that? I can't even visualize it in my head.
Feet, 52 miles?
Yeah.
Just multiply by 5,000. Doing math live on the air. Woo! 52, like 270,000 feet.
Okay. That's
Many more.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
I'm pretty sure that's at least low Earth orbit, if not like mid-Earth orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it sounds like you guys have both read about flat Earth arguments.
Yeah.
Which is something I haven't gotten around to. I've listened to a lot of like financial scams, multi-level marketing. I've done way too much reading on like 9/11 truth.
Yeah, I have to imagine that each individual, until I went online and looked at how they explain the sun, the motion of the sun around the thing. I had to think, are they thinking the entire other hemisphere of the Earth is lying?
Like, do they think?
Because it must be daylight everywhere at once,
It's
right?
funny because you'll see them complaining and being like, Australia isn't real. What about all of South America
Sure.
and like a significant portion
Must
of
be fake.
Africa? Is it all not real?
They must be really insulated, you know?
I mean, this is similar to thoughts I have about like Noah's Ark, where they're like, we'll be like, there's no record of a flood that covered the entire Earth, and then they'll be like, well, historians lied to you, and I'm like, all of ancient China didn't exist.
Wait,
like,
they
what
didn't write
happened
about
to
all
that
being killed?
You gotta have. I'll give them this. You gotta have a lot of imagination to be a flat earther. Like to just constantly be coming up with those reasons of like, well, what about this? Well, they're lying. And what about this? Well, they made this up. And what about this? And this is their excuse. Like, it takes a lot of imagination to constantly be coming up with those excuses.
Yeah, it's the same with the moon landing deniers that are like, dude, you don't understand photography or perspective. What the hell are you doing talking to us?
I had somebody arguing with me about, trying to start an argument with me about how you can't see stars in photos that are taken from orbit.
Right.
And I'm like, that's because you have, the Earth in frame, and that, would
Lit by
overexpose
the
the
sun.
image.
Yes.
Use a little bit of logic. And then this person was like, well, I'm a professional photographer. And I'm like, clearly you're not very good at your job.
You suck, dude. Yes.
He said, I have knowledge about this. And I'm like, then use it. Why aren't you using it?
I'm not a professional and I have more. So it's like
go figure.
The problem with conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
I remember having this conversation with Guy P. Harrison a few times, who wrote 50 Reasons People Give for Believing in a God, and several other books about weird beliefs that people have. And it's like, when I argue with a religious person, I often find that they just haven't thought very hard about their beliefs.
Oh.
Like you bring up Bible verses and they're like, what? Is that in there? And they are sort of default believers. Conspiracy theorists, though, man, they pour every ounce of their waking energy into discussing this thing. And so
they're so desperate to have secret knowledge.
Yeah,
they'll go to any lengths.
They want to be special. They want to know that, I'm smarter than the rest of you sheeple.
They want to be the one saying, wake up, sheeple. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I was just discussing exactly this a couple days ago with my son, who's 15, and somehow the Y2K thing, which came up before he was born, came up in conversation. And I was like, people there were people seriously pushing the notion that the Earth was going to descend into some kind of Mad Max-like state when all the computers failed. And he was like, what do people get out of that? And I think it's just what you said, is feeling special.
Yeah, they get to be the person with the special secret knowledge who's smarter than everybody else, because the wool isn't pulled over my eyes, my friend, but it is on yours.
You can't fool me.
And they're hoping for that big I told you so moment, which they'll bask in forever.
The amusing the thing I find amusing about most conspiracy theories is the people promulgating the hoax, are like the moon landing, are both incredibly brilliant and dismally stupid at the same time.
I mean, I disagree with the brilliant, but sure.
They fake this incredible moon landing, right? Yeah. They launch a huge rocket. They do all this stuff to fake a moon landing, and they forget to put stars in the sky.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Duh?
Oh, man.
Right. Like the conspiracies are always hyper competent, and yet
the crucial mistake.
The people who have orchestrated all these murders to keep everyone quiet somehow have not gotten around to you, person who knows all this stuff.
It's also never quite clear what they think this mysterious organization behind all of it hopes to gain.
I know.
Why does it matter if they if the moon landing were faked or if the Earth was flat? What does that do? What does it do to have us all believe that? Other than
to make us all believe that?
Day-to-day
life?
I don't follow the logic there.
I haven't. Step one: convince everyone the Earth is flat, round. Right. Step 2: ...
Step 3: profit.
Profit.
Yes.
Yes.
We stole your punchline.
Yeah. You're never coming on this show again.
I know. I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
So yeah, flat Earth.
Amazing.